Hello my story enjoyers, today we have two stories. First story. Title. Am I the A for dumping fiancé over strippers at her bachelorette? The situation is just as the title suggests. I'm a 29-year-old guy, and my ex-fiancé, also 29, had been together for 5 years. Normally, we would be married by now, but I ended our relationship and called off the wedding 2 days before it was supposed to happen because there were male strippers at her bachelorette party. I'm not really into those kinds of parties, but I agreed to go along with it after everyone promised it would be simple. I made it clear to my ex-fiancée that I didn't want strippers or any wild stuff happening. She said she understood. I also warned my friends that if they did something behind my back, it would cause trouble. I stayed at my friend's summer house for a low-key celebration. We hung out by the pool, played some World of Warcraft, and board games. Meanwhile, my ex-fiancée and her friends went out to a restaurant and then stayed at an Airbnb. Everything seemed okay that night and the next day. When we got back to the city, while I was shopping for a birthday gift for my ex-fiancée, I bumped into one of her bridesmaids. She mentioned that the night was crazy with all the strippers, and then looked uncomfortable. I tried to get more details, but she didn't want to say much. It seemed like she realized she shouldn't have mentioned it. When I talked to my fiancé about it, she was surprised at first. She denied it, then said nothing wild happened and that the strippers were invited by one of the bridesmaids. I reminded her that strippers were a deal-breaker for me. She tried to reassure me that it was just some solo dances and nothing more. I said I needed time to think. Several of her friends texted me, all saying nothing happened, it seemed planned. After thinking it over, I decided to break up and cancel the wedding. I lost some money because the wedding was so close. Right now, things aren't great. I'm getting criticized by everyone and feel really confused. My sister suggested I see a therapist to sort out my thoughts and feelings. Some friends think I should just get over it and not make a big deal out of something so small, but I feel like it was a big deal, especially since they all tried to hide it from me. Update. I read most of the feedback on my original post and appreciate all the advice. The issue for me wasn't just that my fiancée was surprised by her friend's actions, but more about the lies. Each bridesmaid had a different story, and no one was willing to share details. It's easy to see why this completely destroyed my trust and made me suspect something more was happening. After reading the responses, which included many saying I was wrong, I even considered apologizing. Then, last night, one of the bridesmaids contacted me. She probably saw the post and recognized it. I had known my fiancée was having issues with her friends recently but didn't realize how bad it had gotten. It turns out, my ex and her close friends had blamed everything on the girl I met at the mall, causing a big argument among them. I'll skip the specifics, but she ended up telling me that my ex-fiancé and the others got sexually involved with the strippers. My fiancé, to my knowledge, was the only one there in a committed, monogamous relationship. The bridesmaid also told me that my fiancé wasn't caught off guard by the strippers, she was actually glad for the excuse. I don't have concrete proof, but I received a brief video showing the girls, including my ex, getting intimate with the strippers. My ex tried to get in touch after we broke up. When I confronted her again, she initially denied everything, then gradually admitted to more as I pressed her, ending with her claiming she was coerced by others. I blocked her after hearing that. I couldn't take any more. Finding out I was cheated on was devastating. I might never know the entire truth, but it really hurts. I've lost $15,000 due to the wedding cancellation and need to recover financially. As for some disrespectful comments I received, like calling me an insecure, unfunny nerd for choosing to play WoW at my bachelor party, I'm ignoring them. My idea of a bachelor party was to have fun raiding with friends, not engaging in sexual acts with strangers. Tomorrow, I start therapy to help deal with all this and ensure I don't carry this baggage into my next relationship. Thanks again for the support. Second story. Title. Am I the A for admitting to my friend that I slept with his disabled sister? John and I are both in our 40s now. We were close friends from middle school through most of high school, sharing hobbies, playing sports, and attending church camps together. During those years, I also got to know his sister, Mary, who has cerebral palsy and uses an electric wheelchair. After high school, John moved away for university, while I stayed local, working at my dad's business and attending community college part-time. Mary was at the same community college, and we found ourselves spending more time together. John and his family were pleased with me being there for Mary, almost like a big brother. As time went on, Mary and I became closer and started being intimate. It was casual but enjoyable for both of us. Knowing how protective her family was, we agreed to keep our relationship private. Eventually, her family discovered our relationship, leading to a severe confrontation. They accused me of exploiting my closeness to Mary and taking advantage of her disability. Mary tried to assert that she was a willing participant in our relationship, but her family wouldn't listen. John was particularly upset, even attempting to physically confront me, which caused my father to step in. After the dust settled, my relationship with John and his family fell apart, and I eventually moved out of state. 2 decades have passed since then. I've kept in touch with Mary but only exchanged formalities with John and his family, who remain connected to my father. Recently, Mary visited my city for a work event, and we met up for lunch. Afterward, we continued to spend time together, and I ended up staying the night at her hotel. The next Saturday morning, I received a shocking message from John. It had been 20 years since we last spoke directly, but he had seen photos of us from the lunch and was furious. He dredged up old grievances and warned me to stay away from Mary. His message infuriated me. We are adults, not teenagers, and his words felt unjust and overprotective. In a moment of anger, I replied sharply, telling him that Mary and I had been together again and that he needed to move on. Though it felt satisfying to stand up for myself, I regretted the impulsiveness of my response. Talking it over with Mary, she indicated she wasn't upset but wished I had simply ignored John as she does. We planned to continue seeing each other, but I recognized that my reaction disappointed her, revealing a side of me that I need to improve. Update. After reading the feedback, I agree that while I'm not the asshole for my relationship with Mary, my reaction to John was out of line. I've apologized to Mary, and she has forgiven me. Still, I acknowledge that I was wrong to share intimate details without consulting Mary first. John's response to my message was to send another harsh message, this time even more personal and hurtful, involving comments about our past and my father. Following advice from the comments, I responded calmly and then blocked him. As mentioned previously, I'll be spending time back home this spring and summer to help my father. After losing his wife last year, he's decided to retire and sell our family home. I'll be there for about 3 months to assist him with the business, sort out the house, and make the most of our time together, which will include activities like BBQs and baseball games, reminiscent of my childhood. Mary and I are excited about reconnecting this summer. Despite the complications that arose from my impulsive behavior, our last weekend together was special. There's a possibility that John might try to cause more trouble, but I'm not letting that worry me. Mary is important to me, and I'm looking forward to enjoying 3 months with her before I move away permanently. I'm confident Mary and I will maintain our connection and hopefully meet up again in the future. Thank you to everyone who commented and messaged. Both Mary and I have read your thoughts, and they've been incredibly helpful.